Hi everybody. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. It's been busy with a lot of other things going on with regular life. But I wanted to do a quick video on some photography that I did this last weekend. I've always wanted to do night shots of downtown LA, mainly because I've lived in Southern California for most of my life. And I actually don't have a whole lot of photos of like cityscapes of downtown LA. And we just passed this holiday weekend here in the United States. It was 4th of July, United States Independence Day. So I had some free time to go out and do some night photography of some cityscapes of downtown LA. So in this video, I just wanted to go over kind of like my experience in doing that, some of the gear or the gear that I brought with me, my process of doing that, and just kind of talk you through what I did and show some of the images that I produced from that night. I was considering taking a little GoPro camera with me and just kind of talking, doing the video as I'm actually in the process of doing it. But because I was going out in downtown LA and it was going to be nighttime, most of the time I was going to be alone. I decided against, having to carry more gear and set up and do things like that to get the video because, I wasn't sure what kind of characters I'd come against or bump into in downtown. So I decided let's, try to make it quick and dirty, bring what I need, take the shots, and then leave. So the first stop I did was I was actually with my brother, which was cool because I was initially just going to do it by myself, just kind of do a photo excursion on my own. But I told him what I was going to do, and he just wanted to come along. So that was really cool. Thanks, bro. Thanks for helping me out. So what we first did was we went to the Griffith Observatory in downtown LA, and the Griffith Observatory is fairly high up in the Hollywood Hills area, Mulholland Drive area, and it has a good look of the cityscape of downtown LA. And I chose that location because of that, and because they allow tripods. So some places when you go out into the city, they don't allow tripods. So I didn't want to hassle with security or anything like that. So I knew that place allowed tripods. Let me first go over some of the gear that I brought. I wanted to keep it pretty simple. So I brought my tripod, which I can't show you right now, but because I'm using it to film this video. It's a Manfrotto tripod. I'll flash a picture of it on the screen. And I brought 2 lenses with me. Well, actually, I brought 3, but I didn't use the 3rd one. So I brought this lens here, which is the my telephoto lens. It's the 7200 Nikon VR2 2.8, and I brought my Tokina 16 to 28 millimeter wide-angle lens for a full-frame camera with me as well. And I also brought my Sigma 35 millimeter f1.4. I was gonna use that, but I ended up not using it for any of the shots. So let me talk you through. And I brought this bag right here. So I carried everything using this shoulder bag here, which this is a Think Tank Retrospective 20. I've had this bag for at least a couple of years now. I think it's a great bag. I love it. The main reason why I got this bag was really just kind of weird. It was really just for this lens, because this bag is long enough for me to have a camera body mounted on the lens and fit right inside my bag. So then I can pull it out. I have like 4 bags, and all the other ones are they're too short to have a body mounted on the lens in the bag at the same time. So, but I use this bag all the time if I want to carry 2 or 3 lenses and maybe a flash. It's a really good bag. I'm totally happy with it. It's built great. Like I said, I've had it for a couple of years. It still holds its shape. And anyway, and I just carried my tripod in my hand, just like that. So the first place we went to was the Griffith Observatory. It was super crowded because the Griffith Observatory is also by the Greek Theater. So there was all these people there for the concert, then people there to see the sunset on the observatory. So we got there like an hour before the concert, and we had to park, or yeah, the sunset I mean, and we had to park far. So we had to kind of hike it up the hill just with all this gear just to get up there. So the first place we went to was the Griffith Observatory. I chose that place because I wanted to get there for the sunset, and it has a good view of the Los Angeles skyline with all the downtown LA and all the structures around it and all the lights and all that stuff. So unfortunately, I knew that this was going to be a problem, but unfortunately, there's a haze, smoggy haze over downtown LA most of the year, and at night you can kind of see it. The best time to really go is right after it rains, or even in the winter, or when there's a strong wind, because it kind of blows all that stuff out, and then it's just much more clear when you see downtown. So the images I'm going to show you now, they might be a little hazy, especially in downtown. That's just because it was that way. So I tried to do the best I can to clean it up in post, but you can only do so much. So let me just go over some of the images I took from that shot. So here they are. Okay, when we got to the Griffith Observatory, we got there about 45 minutes before sunset. So we just kind of wandered around, kind of scouted a little bit, and I found where I wanted to take the shot. And then I just basically waited until the sunset. Here's a shot here, handheld, using my 70-200 lens. This shot here was shot at 70 millimeters, ISO 100 at 1/25 of a second. So here's a shot again on top of the observatory, looking down into the LA basin. This shot here was shot at ISO 100 at 70 millimeters at f/5.6 at 2.5 seconds, so 2.5 seconds. Obviously this shot was, I had my tripod set up for this shot, so shutter speed really doesn't matter when you have a tripod. So here's the final shot I decided to go with. I ended up taking probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 long exposure shots, but this is the shot I was most happy with of the LA basin. And since it was a Saturday, the downtown lights weren't as bright because a lot of those office buildings down there, it was a Saturday, so there wasn't anybody working. But typically the downtown area is lit up even more during a work week. The settings on this shot here was at ISO 100 at 70 millimeters, f/5.6 at 15 seconds. And obviously I used a tripod for this shot. So right before we were leaving, I wanted to get a full shot of the Griffith Observatory. So I switched lenses here. I used my Tokina, and I used a tripod, another long exposure. This shot here is a 20-second exposure at f/5.6, shot at 22 millimeters at ISO 100. So as you can see here, there were quite a bit of people in the frame, and there were people walking in my frame while I was taking the exposure, but I knew that since it was a long exposure and they were still moving, that they wouldn't show up in the frame. So which is something you should know about when you do long exposures. When things aren't in the frame for very long, it actually won't burn into the sensor. So this is a shot of the Griffith Observatory. So after we left the observatory, we drove closer to downtown, and here's one of the shots I took downtown. This is where I was alone on the bridge. That is the 101 freeway down there with all the light streaks. This shot again was with my wide-angle lens, the Tokina. It is at ISO 100 at 16 millimeters f/8 for 15 seconds. So here's actually a different image. It looks really similar, but I actually moved the camera a little bit. This is a black and white conversion. I actually like the black and white. I was surprised. I didn't think the black and white would come out good, but I actually like this one. This shot is at ISO 100, 16 millimeters at f/8 for 13 seconds. So here's essentially the same shot, only I turned the camera more to get less of the light trails from the freeway and more of the buildings. It was actually, you can see here, is a pretty cloudy night in LA, which normally that is not the case. So I kind of like the clouds in these shots. And the settings for this shot was, I shot in manual for all my shots. So this shot here was at ISO 100, shot at 16 millimeters f/8 for 8 seconds. So anyway, those are some of the images I captured on Saturday night with my attempt to photograph downtown Los Angeles. There's so many other places in LA that I want to photograph, and this is going to be an ongoing project for me. Whenever I get time, you know, go out to LA and just photograph the city. It's funny because, you know, living in Southern California, I'm in Los Angeles quite a bit, but I don't really have a whole lot of images from of the city. So this is kind of like a little side project for me that I'll just keep doing, which is fun for me. If you guys had any questions or comments about some of the images, just leave them below. Thanks for watching.